Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Senaton, and welcome to today's video for Legends of Runeterra. Today, what are we going to be doing? Today we got some new cards. No new champions, no new mechanic, no new keyword or anything, but some very interesting new cards. We got another Darken, so that's cool, which is also an equipment. I actually think it's kind of decent. Pretty sweet PNZ card as well, and a couple other things. Um, Seems like we might be hinting at Aatrox a little bit too, so that'll be great. Uh, but yeah, not gonna be too long of a video today, probably because again, not that many cards. I think we only got what 4 cards or so today. Granted, some cards create other cards, so we do have that to talk about. But yeah, probably not gonna be too long of a video. Anyway, let's go and look at the cards and talk about them a little bit. So, what do we have here? We got a Bandle City card, a PNZ card, and 2 Darken cards. Okay, pretty interesting here. First off, we will talk about the Bandle City card. Mecha Pulverizer. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm a little confused as to the deck that wants this. Now, before you say like, okay, streamer, it's not a downside. Discarding cards is not a downside. I know, I'll be the first one to tell you that. Discarding cards is not a downside that much anymore in the right deck. What deck wants this? Jinx Lulu? Like, that's the only one I can really think of. Maybe some Rumble Pile? But yeah, like, what is it called? The problem is it's in Bandle City. If this was in, what, PNZ? Yeah, PNZ, I'd be much, much more high up on this card, but I feel like Bandle City discard has a problem, and that is its cards don't actually want to be discarded. Sure, you can create discard fodder like Tiny Spear, Tiny Shield, and stuff like that, but, and I guess pranks, but these cards aren't like, you know, Chompers, Fallen Riders, Lost Souls. So maybe something with Scion? Like a Rumble, Scion, Bandle City, Noxus deck? Because it is a solid amount of stats. 3/3 for 3 is solid. And if the unit dies, it does go back to your hand. I do think the problem with Rumble Scion, though, is even with all the discard fodder you have already, you might run out. Between Rumble and this, that's a lot of discard. But again, it is a lot of stats. And Jinx Lulu does have stuff it can discard as well. Basically all the Chompers. I don't know. If this was before the balance patch, basically if Boom Baboon was still a 3/1, I'd be much, much more impressed by this card, but I don't know. Maybe we'll have to play Jury Rig. I think that's the card's name. The 1-mana burst speed spell that summons the 1/1. Summons the 1/1 if it gets discarded anyway. And of course, like all equipment, it can be used with spell mana, and it goes back to your hand after the unit it's attached to gets destroyed. So yeah, I don't know, like, I feel like this card can be good. I can see some potential with it, but I'm just not too impressed. It's not really, like, jumping out at me as like, oh wow, this is really good. I don't know, though. Like, it is a lot of stats. I will say that. 3/3 for 3 is a lot of stats. And you can cast it with only spell mana, too, so you can, like, just curve out to... And I don't know, like, somehow, like, bank 3 by turn 4, you play Jinx, you play Mecha Pulverizer. Maybe you can level up Jinx on turn 4. I don't think you'll be able to. It'll be really tough, but... I don't know. Like, also, it goes well on Overwhelm units. It goes well on Elusives, of course. Lifesteal. Granted, like, Lifesteal and Bandle, that's a funny joke. But yeah, I think there's definitely a home for this. I just don't really know what kind of deck wants it. Next up. Okay, this card, I don't know about this card. Back Alley Bar. I really like that art. This is the first time I've seen the full art of this card. It's really nice. But yeah, Back Alley Bar. 6-mana landmark. When I'm summoned, summon a Back Alley Barkeep. Your new cards cost 1 less. Back Alley Barkeep is the 4-mana 3/3 that gives you a random card. 1 random card And then maybe more, I believe, if you have summoned more back alley Barkeeps. Here's the problem. First off, it's a lot of RNG here. Now you might say like, okay, yeah, it's RNG, but you're getting a discount. Yes, you are getting a discount. I've seen some people reading this card wrong, the discount part of this card wrong. They're reading new cards as created cards. It is not a leveled up Victor on a landmark. If this was leveled up Victor on a landmark, basically the discount your created cards, yeah, I'd be much more impressed by this card. We know what new cards are. We know the new card type of text. Sputtering Song Spinner is a card that says basically create some new cards. New cards are defined as cards that you haven't played at all. So technically the card can be in your deck and they can still be created as long as you haven't played them. So as long as you haven't played a card, it's counting as a new card. So I don't know. I'm not like, obviously back alley Barkeep himself is going to give you new cards in theory. But I don't know. Like there's definitely a meme there, you know, like 3 back alley Barkeeps, 3 back alley bars, woohoo, a funny meme. And then you can take the meme even further and play like Talia to copy the landmark, Ionia to bounce the landmark back to your hand, maybe Ionia to play Monastery of Hirana to bounce the Barkeep. Like, that's a really funny meme, but in terms of competitiveness, it's not that competitive. I am ready to be wrong about this. Like, we have seen these kind of RNG casino kind of deck, kind of cards be playable in other games, basically in Hearthstone. Casino Mage was kind of a thing where you would just play cards like this, like Back Alley Barkeep, and just get so much value from just RNG nonsense. And in other card games too, where just RNGesus, you basically let RNGesus take the wheel and you win the game just from pure value by getting, well, sure, like random card is worse than card from your deck. If you get like 3 random cards for every 1 card from your deck your opponent's getting, sure. So yeah, I don't know. I could see this being a real meta card in a meta deck. Mostly because of the discount. The discount is pretty big. A 1 mana discount is pretty solid. As for decks that would play it right now, I don't know. Maybe a Shellfolk deck, like a PNZ Shellfolk deck would play this as a 1 of, maybe even a 2 of, because it will, in theory, discount the cards you steal, at least if it's the first time you cast it, so that's kind of cute. I don't know. It might be a little too much value, though, and PNZ Shellfolk doesn't need more value. It needs ways to not die. Anyway, our next card, the Darken. The Darken Lodestone. 2 mana, 1/1 equipment, support. Grant my supported ally +1/+1. You may spend 8 mana to play me as Horazi. Okay, let's talk about the weapon itself first. I like it. Basically, you're saying whatever I'm equipped to is an Esmus. Esmus is a pretty good card, as we've seen. The only problem I'm seeing with this card is it's going to be hard to get value with the Darken Lodestone before turn 3. You might say like, well, can you spellman it? Sure, but on turn 1, let's say like turn 1 you summon a 1-drop, turn 2 you attach Lodestone to it. You don't actually have a unit to buff up with the support, right? So basically you need to get 2 units for 1 mana if you want to swing on 2 and get the support. And it is possible. It is possible to get 2 units for 1 mana. Things like Horo Cannons and discarding Flame Chompers of course, is a way to do it. So there are ways to do it, but I think that's a little bit of a jump. And plus, that's in Targon. Sure, Targon, PNZ, Winding Light was kind of a thing. But I don't know if they would want this deck. Plus, it's not doing too well after the nerf to both Winding Light and Boom Baboon. But I honestly just think it's like, sure, you might not be able to get value until turn 3, but I kind of like playing it in a slower Targon deck. Like a slower, yet still low to the ground-ish Targon deck. Like maybe a Zoe Diana or a Diana Aphelios deck. Like, using this to buff Diana is pretty cute. Buffing Zoe is pretty nice. Even buffing Aphelios is pretty nice. because it is a permanent buff. It's a permanent +1/+1 buff. It's also buffing the unit it's attached to by giving them just a little extra health as well, so that's nice. So I do like it. And of course, in the late game, you can transform it into Harazi, which I'm not sure about Harazi. Let's actually look at Harazi herself really quick. First off, she is a Darken for Darken Matters stuff. 8 mana, 7/7, Spell Shield. Okay, big stat stick with a defensive keyword. Sticky keyword, removal, anti-removal keyword, whatever you want to call it. Support, grow my supported ally stats to mine. Give it my positive keywords for this round. So at its base, Harazi is going to make something a 7/7 with Spell Shield as well. Sure, both Harazi and theoretically the unit she's buffing will just get chumped. But I feel like you're only going to use Darken Lodestone as Harazi if you either just need the board or you're trying to go for a win. The other issue I'm seeing is Targan decks don't need this kind of big finisher. They have that. Like, that's what they're good at. Their problem is just not dying before they can start spamming their big finishers. The big finishers being Celestials in this case. But I still think it's an okay card. Harazi, though, as well, like, I guess you could give keywords, like temporary keywords from Aphelios Moon Weapons, you know, Lifesteal, Overwhelm, so that's kind of cute. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just not sure, like, what deck wants Darken Lodestone. I really can just think, like, a more lower to the ground, but value-y Targan kind of deck. Basically, I'm just thinking of, like, Diana Aphelios. Maybe Mono Targan, even? So yeah, I don't know. I like the card. I really, really like Darken Lodestone, but I think I might be overrating it. And our last card, Seal in Steel. I'm going to say this right now. I don't think this card is good. I've seen some people saying, wow, it's like Hourglass for Targan. This is not Hourglass. 2 mana fast speed spell, obliterate an ally, create a corrupted form with its stats. Corrupted form is 3 mana 0/0 equipment. Nothing crazy. Yes, I know there are some combos where you steal opponent's stuff with Possession. I think that's the card's name from Shadow Isles. I can't blame you if you don't know that card I'm talking about. I believe it's a 5 mana steal an enemy's follower for the turn. So, you know, you play like Shadow Isles, Targan, which is kind of a thing. Like, Gwen Aphelios isn't terrible. But you play Possession, then you use Seal and Steel. The thing is, like, you can already do that. You can already do that with Glimpse Beyond. So I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but if that was such a great combo, why wouldn't we just do it now with Glimpse Beyond? One of the reasons is because Possession only hits followers. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of this card. It is kind of cute that it's... I look at this more, less of a Hourglass and more of like kind of a Glimpse Beyond. I really hate it's an Obliterate. If it wasn't an Obliterate, that'd be kind of cool because you could be like, oh, I'll get Last Breath synergy. I kill the unit to get, you know, unit died synergy. So slays and stuff, because Obliterate will not activate Slay. So this will not activate your Kindred, your Viegos, etc., etc. But yeah, like I think this is more like a Glimpse than a Hourglass, where you want to use it in response to removal spell to get a little bit of value from your unit dying, right? I still feel like I'd rather just take the 2 card draw from my deck than a weapon that's not really doing much, just giving some stats. If it copied keywords as well, sure, that'd be OP. Like, that's great if it copied keywords. You could give things Lifesteal, Overwhelm, Elusive, etc., etc. Honestly, just having Zoe getting sealed would be like, oh yeah, I have a weapon that gives +1/+1 and Elusive. That'd be pretty good. But as it stands now, I'm not a big fan of it. Another reason I'm not a big fan of it is Corrupted Form is 3 mana. A 3 mana is a lot of mana. Like, you gotta... So basically, let me put it this way. You gotta spend 2 mana to first off seal a unit, and then you gotta spend 3 mana just to get the stats back. You basically spend 5 mana for some stats. And you can argue, well, you get the corrupted form back after the unit it's attached to dies. Yeah, well, that's correct, but your opponent's not just sitting there letting you do all this. They're trying to advance their game plan, whether through drawing cards, hitting you really hard, ramping, trying to get their game-winning combo. And meanwhile, you're here with like a, let's say even like a +3, +4 corrupted form, which is not really doing much. I don't know, it's a solid card from Conchologist as well, but actually putting this in my deck, I'm not that crazy about putting it in my deck. I guess it could be an Aatrox weapon, like, I think this is Aatrox. It looks very Aatroxy. Like, not an Aatrox weapon, an Aatrox champ spell, so it's a solid champ spell, but I wouldn't really want to put it in my deck. Maybe as a one-of in a more mono Targon deck, but even then, I feel like there are better cards I could play. Anyway, though, that is it for all of the cards today. Nothing too, like, really powerful. I feel like this has been the case for the last couple of days of card reveals. I haven't really seen anything that looks insanely OP. Like, you know, Kaisa. Like old Kaisa or something like that. Like, there might be something here that is actually really OP and might need to get nerfed. Like, I could see Master Yi being that, but nothing that just looks atrociously OP. But these are some cool cards, like, pretty cool design. I like Back Alley Bar. Back Alley Bar seems like a lot of fun. Darken Lodestone seems pretty sweet. Mecha Pulverizer could be annoying. Not a big fan of Seal and Steel, but I could see myself playing it as a one-of in my mono Targon list. But yeah, like, I like the cards. They're fine. Like, maybe I'm being a little harsh on the cards. Maybe you think some of these cards are really good. I'd love to hear your opinion on them and what you guys think of these cards and the previous cards as well, and how you would build some decks with these cards as well. Maybe you think I'm underrating Back Alley Bar, and you think Back Alley Bar is a solid top-tier card. I've heard some people do think it is a top-tier card. And if you guys just enjoyed the video in general, I'd love it if you could leave a like or a comment down below. Always helps me out and always helps out the channel as well. And of course, if you want to keep up with the Legends of Runeterra content, you can always go and subscribe to the channel as well. Also, if you want to watch me play some Legends of Runeterra, you can go and check me out over on Twitch at twitch.tv/Sedenton, where I stream pretty much every single day. Anyway, though, with that all said and done, thank you all again once more for watching this video. And until I see you guys in the next one, bye!